What's up, everyone? I'm back again with another episode of Travel Thoughts. If you've stuck around for my previous videos, you'll know that I've been sharing excerpts about two different books. Today, I'm going to be talking about The Art of Travel by Alain de Botton again. This week's topic is about how we depict travel and how it influences where we travel. Today's episode, we're going to talk a bit about what influences us to go away and how we are absorbing our surroundings as we are away. Like I said, I'll be sharing some excerpts from The Art of Travel, which I hope my fellow travel enthusiasts have enjoyed so far as well. I would definitely suggest you read this book if you're really into some more philosophical ideas about travel. I found it very interesting. So I'll start by sharing the first excerpt. Now, the book takes into account different famous people over the years, and this part is focusing on Van Gogh. This excerpt focuses on how people are influenced to travel to new, previously unpopular places based on how they have been depicted in media, in this case, art, which isn't so applicable to our present day, but anyways, I'll get into this. So let me go ahead and read you the excerpt here. The Wye Valley was filled with tourists, as were the mountains of North Wales, the Lake District, and the Scottish Highlands, a trend that seems perfectly to confirm the contention that we tend to seek out corners of the world only after they have been painted and written about by artists. The theory must, of course, be a sharp exaggeration, as sharp as the suggestion that no one paid attention to the fog in London before Whistler or to the cypresses in Provence before Van Gogh. Art cannot single-handedly create enthusiasm, nor does it arise from sentiments of which non-artists are devoid. It merely contributes to the enthusiasm and guides us to be more conscious of feelings that we might previously have experienced only tentatively or hurriedly, but that may, as the tourist office in Arles seemed to understand, be enough to influence where we choose to go next year. I know art, of course, still makes an influence for some people, those of us who are obviously more interested in art, but I think a stronger parallel that we can actually draw from this is the ability of photos, videos, whatever media that we're seeing to influence us to choose our next destinations. Because obviously we're a lot more saturated with images and video these days than we are with famous Van Gogh paintings, though honestly, I kind of prefer Van Gogh. Anyways, we see friends or acquaintances post photos online, we see movies or shows taking place in certain areas, and media in this way does have an influence on the places that make us curious. As de Botton says, these things are not, of course, single-handedly doing the job, but it just might be a strong enough influence on where we choose to travel and spend our vacation time. Conveniently enough, de Botton mentions the thoughts of an individual who taught drawing as a means to fully understand and appreciate the beauty of things, and how photography might be problematic for being able to absorb our surroundings. Before I read this excerpt, I just want to let you know that daguerreotypes are photographs, and I may not pronounce those words as perfectly as they should each time, so please bear with me. I am reading as best I can. So here goes. What then was wrong with photography? Nothing, thought Ruskin initially. Among all the mechanical poison that this terrible 19th century has poured upon men, it has given us at any rate one antidote, he wrote of Louis-Jacques Monde Daguerre's invention of 1939. In Venice in 1845, he made numerous daguerreotypes and delighted in the results. To his father, he wrote, "Daguerreotypes taken by this vivid sunlight are glorious things. It is very nearly the same thing as carrying off a palace itself. Every chip of stone is there, and of course, there can be no mistakes about proportion." Yet, Ruskin's enthusiasm diminished as he began to note the devilish problem that photography created for the majority of its practitioners. Rather than employing it as a supplement to active conscious seeing, they used the medium as a substitute, paying less attention to the world than they had done previously, taking it on faith that photography automatically assured them possession of it. All right, what are we saying here? This explains his problem with photography. So basically what he argues photography has done is kind of replace the slow process of appreciation, which is very easy to train yourself to do with drawing. Now, I'm not saying that all of us should be carrying around sketchbooks as we travel, unless of course you want to, by all means, sketch everything. But I definitely want to highlight the idea of how photographs have kind of replaced our active conscious seeing. This is something I notice a lot when traveling. The first thing that sort of pops into my head is a tour bus full of tourists, obviously, and they have this tight schedule. They'll stop at every given place for around 5 minutes, be able to snap a quick picture, and back onto the bus until you reach the next stop. They're constantly rushing through these spots and just, you know, taking a photo, maybe staying for a minute or two. But what I want to think about is that enough time to appreciate and absorb all the transcendence that we may be able to come about, which I talked about in the last few videos about these magnificent places. So does that few seconds give you enough time to absorb places to the fullest and fully appreciate them? I'm not going to say yay or nay. I'm just going to let you think about that. I also want to consider the fact that many of those blissful moments that I sometimes have no photos for, or bad ones, if anything, but yet the feeling is much stronger. And I did mention that coincidence in a few other videos. So looking back at those photos doesn't bring me that blissful feeling. It's actually the ability I have to mentally bring myself back to that place and time that really makes an impact on me. Maybe in that moment, I stood there long enough to properly take in what was in front of me, and that made it significant. It wasn't the fact that I took the crappy photo, because I'm not that good at taking photos, I guess. So here I just want to reiterate, of course, there's nothing wrong with taking photos. Memories are great. I want to be able to have them, and if taking a picture helps, I think it's a great thing to have at our disposal. I'm not saying that photos are bad, but what I am saying is that maybe there's a more wholesome way to experience places, to be able to sit and think and create these mental pictures and notice details before we snap a picture. So if we want the visual to look back on, to refer to the photo, to sort of jog our memory, what I want to maybe influence us to think about a little bit more is, okay, if we're looking for a more profound and memorable experience, I'd say the advice here is this: slow down, look, listen, smell, hell, taste things. Then, if it so pleases you to sketch it, by all means, sketch it, I guess. If sketching is not your forte, then take the photos after the fact so that you can have that memory. But don't make the photos and the quick, I've been here, done that, moving on. Don't make that your priority or your itinerary if you're looking for a more memorable, profound experience. That's all I'll talk about today. Thank you so much for sticking through that. I hope you found that interesting. If you have any other ideas that relate to what I talked about today, the ability of visuals to influence places and the problem that photography may have caused in our ability to appreciate things, let me know. I would love to discuss this with you further. If you're interested, please stay tuned for next week. I have some more travel thoughts coming out. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe for more thoughts like this. But that is all today. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.